Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening live to 105.3 out of Mississippi FM and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans, Louisiana, to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. And this is the Angel Rock. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. You guys just hang tight with me here because the fun and joy of starting TikTok, I always got to do this right after we go live. So give me a minute here. As I get things, you're going to hear a couple little pings because we're going to hit go live. There's one ping. Okay, we got our ping. Give me 2 seconds, guys. It'll take me, well, maybe about 10 seconds, but I will get this going. There's one. Give me another second here. How's everybody's, if you're in the U.S., your long weekend, how did that go for you? Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? Everybody was so kind and wished me happy Thanksgiving too. But the thing is that I'm Canadian. So we did this when was it? Beginning of October, Thanksgiving. Okay, give me a second here, guys. I'm going to start this because otherwise if I'm multitasking, it's always so much fun when I'm doing this. So let me add it. Of course, Roku doesn't want to play nice tonight. That always happens. But we'll see if it will play nice or not. We'll add TikTok. Give me a second. I got to add it at the bottom. Good. Okay, hopefully, cross your fingers, guys. Hopefully we're good. Yes, there we are. So thank you for joining me. My name is Lorilei Potvin. I'm a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner. I'm a spiritual teacher and mentor. I am also a registered nurse. I am an animal communicator, and I am, what else am I? Well-versed in near-death experiences, having studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. I also had one as a toddler myself. And I'm very well versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for the paranormal, it found me. And in our previous home, we had quite the haunting, and we shared it on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor, Season 4, Episode 9. So I'm also the host of a second show here. We're going to try and watch on TikTok and see what happens here. If we have anybody popping in, we shall see. I'm going to be popping all over the place today, guys. So where do I want to go here? If you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family about UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. We have multiple hosts that stream live shows 7 days a week. And when we're not streaming live, the archive server kicks into the last 25 plus years that we've had this network around. So we really are streaming live 24 hours a day. We see Nicole Thomas Ryan, hi, and Kathy Hanley Little, welcome. I started to tell you as I'm popping all these buttons as I'm talking to you. Sorry about this. I'm also the host of a second show here on the network that I started with a good friend of mine. He's a very gifted medium and angel channel, David Hansel. He's over on TikTok, so be sure to check out Medium David Hansel. There's a lot of imposters over there, so I believe he has 96K followers. So you know you're on the right channel. And our show's on from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here, live, and it's called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. So 80% of our audience, and we do broadcast to every country in the world, is audio only. So I always say if you can't see the video, you can't join the conversation. And nothing wrong if you just want to listen, but if you're going to see me say hi to people, Julie Jean Bassett, for example, is here too. And if you've been to this show or The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, you know both those shows are very audience participative. So if you want to join the chat, this is how you do it. No, we're streaming to multiple shows or places. That's why I told you guys, and I appreciate your patience. We're streaming to my Facebook profile, which is Lorilei Potvin, and it's a public profile, so you don't have to be a friend, but you can join the conversation. We're streaming to my Instagram profile, which is the Angel Rock 1508. They don't incorporate the comments, though, here in the main chat like the rest does here. I'm also streaming to Mystique 1508 on Rumble. No, as I say, as always, it's not a stripper name. It's actually from X-Men. It was a channel. I just used it for backup of my shows. So, and we started streaming there live. So, and a few people have joined my channel over there, so I appreciate it, but you can comment on Rumble and I will see your comments. We're streaming to the Angel Rock 1508, or it might even be under Lorilei Potvin. I forgot to check what the name is, but We're streaming over there live. I'm going to try and pop back and forth because they don't put your comments in here either. I see we've got Sean join, Queen. There was somebody before. It just shows us quickly. Welcome over on TikTok. We see you. We're happy you're joining me tonight. Also, where else are we? We are on the network's YouTube channel, which is UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. You may not know we do have a secondary backup channel, which is UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, but I'm not streaming there. I'm also streaming to my YouTube, which is the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. So basically, if you can see us, you can join the conversation. Like we've got Howie/Ed Odell popping in here. What else do I want to tell you guys? I think that's, oh, I know. If you want to watch us on TV, when Roku is playing nice, it looks like somebody may have removed it for me. We'll have to check and see. Or is it playing nice? We shall see. But we do have a channel for the network. Yes, it's playing nice now. Thank you, Roku. So if you want to find the channel, you're going to go to the channel store in Roku and type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop-down list. We're about the third or fourth one down, and you're looking for UFO space P as in paranormal, like I said, and United Public Radio. And that's how you can watch us on TV. And it kept popping up because we produce our own shows. I kept having this big flashing sign at the beginning of the show, but it looks like keep your fingers. Oh, nope, spoke too soon. Now it's popping up again, Roku, saying nope, but I'm going to leave it because sometimes it starts to stream and sometimes it doesn't. So you guys stay tuned too. I usually mention them at the end of the show, but I'm going to mention at the beginning. The show after this in 2 hours is The Light Gate with Dolly Saffron and Preston Dennett. So be sure to hang around for that. There's more programming after my show tonight too. So we were supposed to have a guest tonight. And unfortunately, she was feeling a little under the weather and has a lot going on. I said, no problem. I love doing shows on my own because we get to talk about what you guys want to talk about, right? And I don't get to do that very often. I believe we're booking into, it's either March or April for the Angel Rock. So we've got lots of great guests coming up for you guys in the future. But yeah, sometimes I love to just hang out with all of you. So I'm really happy we could do that tonight. I'm going to give Julie Jean Bassett a shout out. You guys check her out. She was just on the Angel Rock. Was it last week, Julie, or the week before? I think it was last week. She's an incredible animal communicator as well as a fantastic shamanic practitioner. She has helped me with my own animals. I have taken her animal communication course as well as I have had a session with her shamanic practitioner gifts, and it was life-changing. I was just talking to her after the show that we're going to have to book something coming up soon because I kind of feel like I'm ready for another session. So check her out at juliejeanbassett.com. Hi, Heidi Gall. We see you. She says, hello, beautiful soul. Much love. And Ed / Howie Odell, you guys, please check out the Riff Nation Network. Howie is a huge supporter of the UPRN network, and we love to support, fellow creators. He has lots of great shows on his network, including his own show, which is The Orion Effect, with the wonderful and lovely and friend of mine, Rhonda Harris. And David and I have been on his show with Rhonda a couple of times. So be sure to check out the Riff Nation Network. So I was thinking, what are we going to talk about? We got Christmas coming up. Thanksgiving in the States just went by. And you know what? You guys know I love to shout out fellow YouTube creators and shows that I watch. I really don't watch a lot of TV. I'm multitasking. I usually have a podcast plugged in on YouTube. And a couple of them I've been glued to, but one of them right now is the Sean Atwood Network. If you guys have not checked that network out, you need to. Because Ron Swanson, he's from Scotland. He's kind of a co-host / co-creator with Sean. I'm noticing Sean is bringing more shows under his channel, which is a great thing. He's got some really big name guests over there, some really interesting interviews. But one of the ladies, and I mentioned her before, I have shared one of her first shows on the Sean Atwood Network, Beverly Rhodes from over in the UK, and she now does a regular show weekly, at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, on Sean Atwood's channel with Ron Swanson. And I watched their live today, and I found some really interesting things happening. I even asked her a question myself today, and I was very grateful that she answered it. She also had Azria, I think please forgive me if I don't say it right, Azria, on with her, and Azria does the most incredible thing. She takes, where is my little friend here? I don't even know how this is a pendulum, but it's like a unicorn horn, if you will. This is selenite, but it's set up like a pendulum. And then what she does is she takes, because she's very psychic as well, and has connected with many of the off-worlders, as they call them. As I should tell you a little bit more about Beverly too. Beverly Rhodes has had a really awful upbringing, some really, really dark stuff in the family that she grew up with. She's written a book about her experience and how she healed from it. But she is one of the world's best remote viewers. She has worked with many of the alphabet soup organizations around the world to find missing people, to solve crimes, you name it. For example, her first time on the show, Sean Atwood was on with her, and so was Ron Swanson, the co-host. And they want to know a bit more about this. Like, what does energy feel like? Like, what does it feel like when you remote view? So she warned them, you may feel a little bit of this or a little bit of that. And she let them know, and she kind of did a quick remote view session with them. And she was scanning them. And she said about Sean, she went through and she said, I think this might be a weak spot for you. And then she said, no, hang on. Do you not have your foot tucked up underneath you on your chair? And there was no way she could have seen that. None whatsoever. And she was able to see, and indeed, Sean was sitting exactly that way. Today, she talked about Ron, with his permission. He had asked her to remote view, not during the show, but they've been doing a lot of stuff off air, creating these shows. And I've never seen Ron embarrassed. He was the color of my shirt. And she says, yes, Ron, I had a good chuckle when I did remote view you. And you were laying on the couch surrounded by bags of crisps and snacks. So for people not in the UK or Europe, crisps are potato chips. And then she even told him how he was laying and how his leg was up on one of the couches. He was so bright red because she was dead on, like dead on with this. So this lady is incredible. Back to Azria. These are people that she knows and works with over in the UK. She utilizes, basically, I call it the unicorn horn. It's a selenite crystal in a pendulum form. And she works with her guides, the person she's reading for. And then she's got a bunch of pictures, if you will, of, as they call them, off-worlders. We might call them extraterrestrials. And she gets into what your DNA is as it connects to different off-world beings, if you will. And like she explains it much better than I am. It's not so much as if you went to, say, 23andMe and had a swab and sent it in for your genetics. It's not that kind of genetics, but it tells you where your lineage comes from. And I have seen her do it a couple of times today, and I think it was last week was the first time she was on, and it blew my mind. Like, the people she was reading that she had on there, one of them was the mods for the chat. One was Ron, and I think she might have read Sean's partner. She just had a baby and I think is a doctor of psychology or something of that sort, and has been dead on with all of them, and gets into, like, I believe with Ron, and it's AI representations of what these extraterrestrials look like. And oh my God, it almost looked like him. And she hadn't had AI draw a picture of Ron. She already had these pictures. She did this live kind of on the show. And the big part of his DNA came from the giants. And she gets into all the characteristics of the giants and who they are. And then the fairy world, believe it or not. Today she had on one of the moderators by the name of Casa Bear, who's from Scotland, and even down to the physical characteristics. And she'd never met Casa Bear till she came on live, and all the characteristics of her personality and who she is so correlated with what she had picked up through this reading she does. So really fascinating show if you guys get to watch this. Hi, Julia Evans. Yes, it is good evening for you. I know it's 11:30 over there, and I'm talking about your country if you're just popping in with Sean Atwood. For those of you who don't know who Sean Atwood is, I followed him for years. I think I was still in my previous home when my kids were really little, and how I had found him and found his story so fascinating. he had always grown up in the UK, but he was really good at stocks and numbers. So he actually immigrated over to the US and became part of the stock market and got into the rave scene. And apparently he did very well with the stock market, but he also got into a lot of the, we'll say, extracurriculars that he was selling. And he was caught and arrested. And he spent, I think, 5 or 6 years in a prison over there. And I saw him on a series that used to be on called Locked Up Abroad. And he was so fascinating to hear what his story was and where he is now. So I followed him for that long. Oh, I think we have to get rid of this person here. Sorry, guys, time to flush the toilet, as our good friend Howie would say. I don't want to show you, actually. I want to get rid of you. They're not letting me get rid of you. I don't know why they're not, but oh, I know why. Because you're over on Twitch. So we'll just ignore you over there. I forgot to mention, actually, we're streaming over in UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network on Twitch. Because I'm thinking, why can't I get rid of this person? Yeah, because we're on the channel one. I'm going to have to talk to Joe and say, Joe, you got to give me moderator status to flush these people. So we'll just ignore them. That's all. We don't want to give them the attention that they want. That's all. So one of the interesting things with people asking questions, because I did ask a question, remind me if I forget to tell you about it, because it was fascinating. But I've talked about many times what the question was about, excuse me, is what did Beverly think might have happened to me when I was still in my previous home? I was going for a 3-minute trip to the store. I've been in the city my whole life, and I was at the stoplights, and I literally blinked. And when I opened my eyes, like an hour and a half had almost gone by, and I was miles away from where I had been. So I asked her about that. But the fascinating part, I had not heard about this. So I'd love to hear if you guys have. But apparently, there were like blue orbs that touched down, I want to say, in one of the UK airports. Maybe you know more about this, Julia Evans. I'm pretty sure it was in the UK. Oh, you know where it was? Sorry. I wrote this down. Let me double check this. Because there was a bunch of stuff going on in the UK. And Julia, maybe you can validate this for me. But in London, if you're anywhere close, apparently you know how there's cameras everywhere? They are all shut off and shut down, except the one on Abbey Road. And apparently Denmark, same thing. These are security cameras that are always going off. So I wrote this. I know I wrote the name of this down. So give me a second here as I find it. There was something, I thought it was in the UK too, but I know what it was. It was in the UK, and I'm going to show you the video. But there was also apparently a UFO crash in Ängelholm, Sweden. And apparently 2 of the inhabitants off-world had passed away. They were buried, they said, under a tree or something. They're talking about this. And I thought, well, I'm going to show you what was shown. And it was covered in the news, apparently. This was in the UK. And I think I've got it. Let me see if I've got it. I want to make sure I got it set up. Yeah. Okay. So it's part of the podcast from today. So I'm going to show you guys this. And you see what you think. I tried to find it before we went live. So if it's not right on, I will just fast forward it. And hopefully it doesn't decide to play an ad for us, because YouTube is notorious. Okay, we got it up there. Good. And let's see if we go full screen. Okay, let's see. So Beverly Rhodes is in the left-hand top corner. I don't know if you can see my arrow. She's one of the co-hosts. Ron, who I mentioned, Ron Swanson, is right here. He's a co-host. This was the mod that was on at the beginning of the podcast, Kaza Bear, who it's Azria Beckham. She's the one that does the DNA readings to see where your lineage comes from in the way of your DNA from extraterrestrials, or as they refer to it, off-worlders. This is just Jen's partner, Sean's partner, Jen, had popped in to join some of the show. So they are talking about this. So hang on, and it's about these lights that showed up.
To show what it was like. If you have a look underneath the plane, I think there was a really large sphere.
Hang on, guys.
That is also...
I'll go back just a little bit. I knew it was around, I marked it when I was listening to it. So let me see. We didn't go back too far.
Whenever show, whatever the subject matter is.
Yeah, I wanted to also say that
we'll go a little further here. Sorry.
We will get to questions. We're going to get to the questions for 10 minutes, and we're going to viewer questions for 50 minutes. I felt about the questions. Okay. So I have, there's 24 saved. Okay. So that's,
I'm going to pause just because of fair use practices on YouTube. Now, what Ron's talking about, and I love him dearly, I really do, but he spazzes out over this kind of stuff. He's into magic, and he's quite fascinating to listen to, but he tends to monopolize the conversation when he gets excited. So this is what he's talking about from the last time Beverly was on. So hang on.
That's a good time. So just keep getting your questions in. Hi, so Manchester airports, shutdowns, big blue balls in the sky.
Manchester, okay.
Things almost like
what is this huge big blue sphere? I had a good look at it, and I was alerted to it literally on the day that it happened. And we sent some footage directly to show what it was like. If you have a look underneath the plane, I think there was a really large sphere. That is also to do with the fact that they are watching us particularly.
Temporary flight suspensions and heightened security. The silent glowing object, about 2 meters in diameter, hovered just a few inches above a runway, stunning airport staff and passengers.
You still there, Beverly?
Eyewitnesses described the sphere as otherworldly, with no visible propulsion.
You should be able to see. There it is. That's the main one. That's the blue. That's the blue
what
sphere.
this landed.
Now, the blue spheres, when they come off the main craft, they're not actually drones, but what they are is their observation units. And what they do is they...
Okay, to give you a little bit more context, if you guys can see this, this was at Manchester Airport in the UK. This blue ball that almost touched, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking about it, almost touched down on the runway. This just happened, I believe, a couple days ago. Like I say, Julia, you're here. I don't know if you heard about this or saw this. So the first clip they showed was from TikTok, but they actually get into a news report about it. So I'm going to continue to show it. And then this is what Beverly is saying she picked up. She's actually shared, I've heard of the Galactic Federation, but she says there are two out there. One of them is the Galactic Federation of Light, and she said you cannot federate light, and that one has, how do I say this properly, not the best intentions. Then she said there's the Galactic Federation of Worlds. That is the one that is working for humanity, working towards peace and what have you, sort of more positively. So she does connect when she remote views, and she's very psychic as well. And like, I'm not saying she's the be all to the end world at all. It's just like I said, I'm fascinated by her. Never mind that I watched this live today. Yeah, exactly, Kathy. There you go. Kathy says, I saw this the last 2 days. I think it's an ET drone. Well, she's going to tell you, she's starting to tell you what she picked up. She remote viewed and connected, if you will, energetically, vibrationally, psychically, however you want to say. And she's giving her interpretation here of what I just thought it was really fascinating. So hang on, guys, I'll finish playing it.
They send energetically, they send all the images and information back. What they're looking for is actually like different types of weaponry or different types of energetic signatures of items that could cause humanity any problems. So it's not a surprise that this particular same type of sphere was also discovered and seen over one of the Manchester military bases. And at the same time, they were also seen in other areas across the world. And that then brings us to the other prediction, which was made by AI in 1990, where the gentleman had said that he had felt that because there's certain spikes and there's certain temporal adjustments where there is a unit that takes place in our world, which in this case, it was the Joe Rogan Trump interview was the spike and was the trigger. And he was saying that this now will bring about all that we see with off-worlders sending drones and sending spheres and collecting information, because they are very concerned that there are certain organizations and countries that might be sailing very close to the wind, and they might also be verging on the border of a large-scale war.
Yeah.
This is why they're there. They're watching us.
Interesting. So all those people out there that are saying it's just drones, you're kind of right. Okay, it's just they're not our drones. Okay,
No, they're not ours. They're not ours.
On the subject of that, Beverly, I'm just going to take you through a couple of things from the Daily Show today. This is a bit of footage from 13 years ago. It's another ball, and some
say maybe proof we're not alone in the universe. A UFO in the form of a bright light is seen descending over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. The video said it was taken over the weekend. Then suddenly the light shoots up into the sky. There you see it. Another video from a different angle appears to show the light doing the same thing.
Do you remember this footage?
Yeah, I do.
Just two-part question. Explain what we're seeing here. And is this the same glowing ball that would appear over, say, Japan during, say, you know, a nuclear meltdown? Are these a protective ball? Sorry, don't know how else to express it.
They are protective, but they're also fact seeking, because what they do is immediately they send the imagery and they send all the vibrations, the images, and whatever it is that they're seeing, they send that back to the organic ship so that they can see what's happening. These types of crafts and these types of, well, they're actually called a probe. These types of probes are always seen where there are particular installations, where there's anything nuclear.
Sorry, Beverly, carry on. I didn't mean
to.
Where
there's anything nuclear, and also where they require a particular type of information. Let us not forget that the Dome of the Rock and around that particular area, there is actually a piece of alien stone.
I didn't know this.
That is in existence in that area. So that is automatically what the probe is drawn to. It's fact.
Okay.
There is a piece of an alien stone. It's a black stone. It's off-world and it's in place.
Okay.
So Beverly, I gotta ask you then, why are they sending these drones down? Are they planning on stopping anything from going too far?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we get too far, I think that they would intervene, but only if we got to the point that we were about to press the button. Because if there was anything on Earth, it wouldn't just decimate Earth or cause a large frequency surge on Earth going out into all the other planets. It would have a detrimental effect on all other life that's out in the universe as well, and that can't be allowed to happen.
Yeah, the reason I brought up Japan, obviously, if anyone gives it a bit of thought, we're talking about a nuclear power plant. Do you remember the last nuclear power plant that this happened to, that no one's been back to for the last 50 odd years in Chernobyl?
Yep.
So there's some footage lost on the internet of these white balls during that Japanese power station tragedy. And it's very much like, where did the radiation go? Well, what's going on there? What's going on there? Because it seems to me like that it should be a similar situation in Japan than we've seen in Chernobyl. I could be completely wrong. I could be very uneducated in all of this. But Beverly, I need to ask you, because today, again on the Daily Show, we were talking about lost history again, right? And we were talking about the pyramids. We were talking about that place that I can't remember that was between Russia and China that was apparently a civilization that we're still using the secrets of the Egyptians and how all this stuff was done. And then I remembered primary 7 science excursion from primary school. Okay. And I seen this. Okay.
Oh yeah, the frequencies. Well, they're just that's one of our favorite experiments to prove frequencies and vibrations.
Okay, the reason why I stopped it, I'm going to address your comments, is because what he gets into, many of you I think have seen it, and if you haven't, please go watch it today. It was a fascinating podcast. Like, I really enjoyed it. And I hadn't heard anything about, like, that would be, can you imagine if you were at Manchester Airport and you watched that? Like, that literally looked like a little blue planet just about landing on the runway. Apparently it stopped flights. And so it was interesting to hear her perspective. But what they were about to show is when they use vibration and frequency, and I believe this one he was going to show us with sand. So it's to show basically that everything really is made up of energy, vibration, and frequency, right? The whole universe, not just Earth. And when you use the vibration and frequency, the sand all develops into different patterns on the table, so you can actually visualize what that looks like. So that's what he was showing in there. Now I'm going to read some of these comments. I'm going to say hi to, if Steve's still there, he's over on TikTok. I found out how to monitor my live on TikTok, funny. Stephen Lugar says, hey, it's Steve. I know who Steve is. Welcome, Steve. Glad to see you. Hendrix had joined. Anybody else that's there, let me know you're there. I will be popping back and forth to say hello from the main chat. Where are we? Let's get back here. So going back up a little bit. Like I said, Kathy Henley Little said she saw this the last 2 days. She thought it was an ET drone. You are right. Michelle Wilfong said, and I want to give Michelle Wilfong a shout out too, because she's my mod over on TikTok and she's amazing. She does such a great job and she has a really great TikTok channel herself. She lives in an apartment building that has a lot of paranormal activity. So please go check her out. Let's see, where are we going? And then Michelle says, amazing footage. Julie Jean Bassett says, wow. And then Kathy Hanley Little, ETs don't want us to use, we'll say nukes, because it will cause a ripple in the universe. Yes, not only that, and I think I've always known this, like my youngest son that has severe autism, he can read and he can write. And he is an adult. I mean, I monitor what he does, but I can't see everything he reads and writes, but we've got an agreement that if he doesn't understand what he's read, come and talk to me about it. And he's been very terrified about the world ending. He gets very, very worked up around New Year's, just before New Year's, because he's worried that the end of the year means the end of the world. So we had to do a lot of teaching and a lot of talking. And now he'll constantly ask me around this time of year, not worried about New Year's. The time is infinite, right, Mom? Yes, time is infinite. And then he worries when he hears and sees things in the news and is worried. So I have told him for years, well, the one thing I do tell him, and my partner has tried to explain that it's not quite what it is, but I tell him NASA's out there watching us, watching out for us on the space station to give him some comfort. That the Van Allen belt is out there too. He understands about that. We've had many conversations, but I've really gotten into at an appropriate level, because he does believe in ET. I mean, look who his mother is, right? The weird stuff we've lived through and what we've gone through. And I tell him that they'd never let this happen. And I've told him this for years. So I agree with you. And you don't have to agree with me, but I can't believe that we would be the only ones here in the universe. Never mind the fact that what we do is we affect the rest of the universe, whatever we do. So I agree with you, Kathy. And it's been seen, it's been proven. You can look up, there's so many things. I even have a friend, Dan Willis. He was on my show a lot at the beginning when I was on here almost 6 years ago when I started. And he worked for the U.S. Navy. He witnessed an ET event. And I've talked about this on the show many times before. It was, I think it was May the 6th, where was it? May the 2nd, 2006. It was one of those dates. It was 2006 or 2002. 2006 feels right. And a whole bunch of high up military people, from admirals to colonels to scientists to all kinds of people, went to the New York Press Club. They were sworn in. Every major news agency was there. And they all brought, as the kids call it these days, the receipts to prove that they had all had encounters with some type of off-worlder, or if you want to call it an extraterrestrial. And they were willing to go to Congress and present this. And they were all excited. They figured finally disclosure is going to happen. All the major news agencies are here. And what happened instead? They all at the last 15 seconds of the newscast, it was made a mockery of, like, some people think that ETs exist, kind of giggle, 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 giggle. So, but my friend Dan has made a video called Why the Secret Space Program Will Remain a Secret, or something to that title. I've shared it with so many people because he always talked about it, but he actually made it into about an hour and a half video. And he took the video footage and put it into almost like a documentary to show the people that were up there testifying to what they had witnessed and what they had seen. And he, like I say, it's quite fascinating to watch. So, like I say, I've always believed that we have extraterrestrials out there. Plus, you get to see, like, if you start researching this over nuclear power plants, for example, or I believe Dan, there was somebody that, the reason I brought up Dan's documentary, I think there was somebody that testified that they all had nuclear type weaponry to protect themselves, and some kind of UAP, if you want to call it, UFO, was right over their ship. Not only were their weapons disabled, they were destroyed. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was attacked. And then you look at all the power plants that are nuclear around the world. How many times there's been ET there? They've been literally shut down. So I truly believe that, yeah, they are, because what I get being a psychic medium and connecting with the other side is how off-worlders, if you will, refer to us is human beings are a young race, and our propensity for violence and what we do to one another is absolutely confounding to many races, but they do know that we're a young race and we have a lot to learn. So I often liken it to, would you give matches to, and I'm not being disrespectful, but to a 4 or 5-year-old? No, right? They may get their hands on it or whatever, but there'll be somebody supervising to the fact that if you're going to hurt yourself or burn down the house, somebody's going to stop you. And that's the way I look at it this way with races that have been around here forever. Now, Connie says, hang on, Connie, I'm trying to highlight that. If there are any time travelers, you would think they would come to our time to warn us. Okay, so it depends if you believe in that too, but then what you have to worry about when you start getting into timelines and time dimensions, and David and I talked a little bit about this last Thursday, right? You've got to get a time traveler, because I believe time travel exists. You can just look into the Philadelphia experiment back in the mid to late 50s, and it's gone from there. I think it exists. You look at Andrew Bishago. I always forget. I got to get a hold of him one day. I have a way to get a hold of him. And he claims he's been part of the military's time travel program since he was a little boy. And he's got pictures to show long before Photoshop existed, long before AI existed. I think it exists. But where I was going with that is you got to get somebody that would be coming back that you would know was on the exact same timeline that we are in, that comes, right? Like we could get somebody from, say, they're a time traveler. Some people say they've tried to prove it, and then they've said certain things will happen and they don't happen. Now, is it because they weren't a time traveler, or maybe they're coming from a different timeline than the trajectory that we're on, right? So it's hard to say. There was something else I was going to say with the time travel too, not only about timeline. I keep getting it, and as I'm talking, I keep losing it. It was not only, like I say, same timeline. I'm going through, it'll come to me probably as I'm talking. But, so you got to be careful with that too, because I know what it was. There's a man that showed up, and I believe it was over in, I want to say Britain. He was the man from Turin. And if you look up, I haven't watched them in a while. I should tap back into them. It's called ROPE, Real Observation of Paranormal Events YouTube channel. They actually did a video on this, and it's a well-known story of a guy that showed up at an airport with a passport from the country of Turin. I think it's Turin, Turin. And nobody knew where this was. He had foreign currency and all kinds of stuff. And I think they put him in a back room, and then all of a sudden he wasn't there. And I'm really shortening the story, but where did that guy come from? Right? Where did he come from? And then I know it's very controversial about what happened on New Year's Day in Florida, but I'm sorry, when Congress is talking about it in the US months afterwards, I think there is some truth to it. I really, really do. Plus, I don't care what anybody says. I have lots of friends that are police officers. I almost became a police officer, if you can believe that or not. A Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer back in the early 90s. Could you guys see me as a cop? I laugh now. But anyways, to have that much in the way of cars that showed up and the amount of protection, we'll say police, they say there was some military there. That was like practically every unit from miles around that showed up at that mall. So, hi, Michael Angley. I just saw you. Welcome. We got Jody Cross from Oz. Hello. Jody, I want to apologize to you. Yes, Julie was on last week. I didn't see your beautiful picture of your dog, Charlie, till after the show. I'm so sorry about that. I didn't want you to think I forgot about you. You know what? That's so interesting, Julie, that you asked that, because I was thinking the same thing. So Julie's asking for people listening. So how do they explain Chernobyl, right? With the video clip I just showed of Ron Swanson talking on Sean Atwood's about what had happened with the nuclear meltdown in Japan, and they didn't seem to have any of the effects that happened in Chernobyl. I was thinking that exact same question, Julie. Well, then why didn't they do something about Chernobyl, right? I don't know. They did not answer that. You know what we'll have to do? One of us, hopefully, I know I'll try and do it, but show up. Sometimes she comes on today, like Mondays, with Ron, and I think she either comes on Wednesdays or Thursdays. So I'm going to ask her that. Why didn't they do anything about Chernobyl if they did something about Japan? Because I think that's a good question. And Kevin says, sounds like they are watching closely indeed. I agree 100%. And Kathy Henley Little, yeah, I was thinking this. I didn't want to say it out loud, so I'm glad you did. We can't be so arrogant to think that we are the only ones in the universe. I agree 100%. Sorry, you got a notification. Oh, it's my good friend Augie. I haven't talked to him in forever. And Julie and Kathy, yes, and Kathy, you and I have talked. You've sent me some great stuff. Heidi Gall said, I'm sorry I got to get to class starting 5 minutes. Much love. Well, we're just glad you could pop in, Heidi. Nice to see you. Julie says, yep, Kathy, as in the movie Contact. If it is just us, then that would be a waste of space. Not sure of the exact wording. It had been a while since I've seen that movie. Agreed. And this is what I was referring to. Kathy, 100%. She said it was real in Miami. Kathy, you live in Florida. And I feel comfortable saying that because I know you've mentioned it in an open forum here before, but it was real. Like US Congress is actually talking about this event. I think it was you that sent me that clip. So I believe 100% it was real. Julie says, great minds think alike. Jody, you're so sweet. She said, you are sweetie, loving the show. Oh my goodness, Zach Powers, did you get my telepathy waves? Because I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking, I haven't seen Zach in forever. I hope he's good. He says, good evening, everyone. Just wanted to stop in and say hello. Well, we're glad you stopped in to say hi, Zach. We miss you and I hope you're doing well. Julie says, let me know what you find out. You know I will. Well, actually, I've told a few people, Julie. I'm hoping, we'll see, no pressure or anything, but maybe over the holidays, because it's usually quiet once the presents all get ripped open here, that hopefully Julie and I might even be able to do a live every now and then over the holidays. We're kicking around and not much to do, and it could be kind of fun. And everybody's saying hi to everybody. Let me pop over to TikTok here. The only thing I don't like about this live is it doesn't tell you, like, if someone comments, it will, otherwise you don't get to see. So so I thought that was really interesting, that clip. And then they were talking about there was a crash. Beverly, I didn't highlight that part, but Julie says she'd love it too. It'd be so much fun. Oh my God, yes, totally. And like I said, I asked you that afterwards, and I've told a few people about this. I actually took a very good class with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. You guys know I adore her. We are good friends. She has her show on Fridays here, which is amazing. Spirit Switchboard, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And she did a really awesome class yesterday on basically interpreting signs and symbols from across the veil, if you will, when we've lost a loved one and we're processing grief. It was an excellent class. Really, really enjoyed it. So I think she's finishing up her 5th week of her meditation class. It's always on when I'm live at 7 o'clock. So I always have to catch a replay, but I still take courses, and she's a fantastic teacher. Julie's a fantastic teacher. Zach says, let's see, all is good on my end. Just staying busy. Railroad work has kept me active. Well, that's good to hear. Nothing wrong with being busy, that's for sure. So I do want to say again, if you're on TikTok, you're watching the show live, and tonight we're hanging out. My guest was unable. She's coming on in the new year because she was supposed to be here. She messaged me early in the week, and I thought, this is awesome. The other day that I have left purposely open is December 30th. It's a Monday. So mark your calendars, because I figure it's just the end of the year. It's over the holidays. We're going to hang out and talk about the year, talk about whatever you want. Like I told you guys, if you guys want to do some readings, I don't do them very often, but I'm happy to do that here. If you guys got some burning questions you want to talk about, any topics. Christmas is around the corner. I cannot believe it. There is a video I downloaded that somebody sent me, and I've always been very touched by it. I haven't talked to him in forever. I don't know how he found me. He's over in Austria. And my name, the reason why it always gets so screwed up, it's spelled very strangely. It's not spelled like Lorilei. It's spelled like Lorelei. But it is Lorilei. So he calls me Lorelei, his name is. He's a paranormal investigator, Jürgen. And he started talking to me about, he says that, well, we call it Krampus. He says, you say it all wrong. It's Krampus. And he said, you have all the wrong idea about Krampus. He gave me a whole interpretation. And he speaks German and Austrian and very interesting way about paranormal investigation too. I haven't talked to him in forever. I'm going to have to send him a message. Anyways, he found a bunch of, as he says, Krampuses. And he ended up sending me a video to say hi to me, and I thought, I gotta share this with you guys. So I don't know how you could find something, how you could find this positive, because he says the way that Krampus, as I've been told to say it, is shown over here as basically Santa Claus's evil brother or what have you. I don't know, but I said, yes, that's how I've always interpreted it. He's pretty scary. And he said, that's not the way that it's interpreted over here. And then we're going to be having Varla Ventura back on just before Christmas, actually the 23rd. She usually comes on at least 4 times a year because she's such a historian and an author and knows about all things paranormal and strange and weird, like fairies and werewolves and vampires. And I could go on and on and on. So, I usually get her to talk about, I think it's the 12 Sons of Christmas? I always remember the sausage stealer is one of them. So we'll have to ask her what she knows about Krampus, but I'm going to show you guys that video. Give me a sec here. Present. Let's see, share. What was that, Kevin? Kevin says, pulling cards would be fun to see. Give me 1 sec, and that'll get out of the way. Okay, share. Let's see. I thought it'd be cute to show you this video. Sorry, give me a sec. You said pulling cards would be fun to see what comes up and what we all feel from said cards, since we are probably all intuitive in here tonight. Absolutely. Sounds great. Well, let's play this for fun, because I said it was kind of going to be a pre-Christmas show. So let's see. I thought it was kind of a cute video he sent me. So he says these aren't evil. I don't know how you could not see these as evil, but
that's the real Krampus, yeah? Not Krampus, sondern Krampus, yeah? Look at them, Lorelei. That's our Austrian culture. Oh, yeah, you look evil. He looks really evil.
See? He says that he's making fun of me.
That's our Austrian culture. Yeah, the bad brother of Santa Claus.
Have a good one.
What do you say?
Back.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. That's all, culture. Bye. Look at me. Show me number one. Yeah, the blue eyes.
Looks
Really
pretty
good.
creepy to me.
It's made of wood, isn't it? It's made of wood. That's the real
Here, I'll stop
Krampus.
it.
Yeah.
No, hang on. I thought he looked pretty darn creepy to me. And I said, well, as far as I've known, he was always pretty evil. But apparently over there, he's not evil. If you didn't hear me, Zach, you're not gone yet. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. We will pull some cards. I wanted to tell you guys about this movie, too, that actually has Krampus in there. I was looking for something Christmassy to watch. And where's my glasses? Oh, I took them out already. And I was looking for something Christmassy to watch. And I thought, really? Because this kept coming up and coming up. I got to find the name of it for you guys. It's called Red One. It's a new movie. It's got The Rock in it. And he actually plays like one of Santa's like elves, but like military kick your butt kind of. It actually was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Anyways, Krampus does come in there at the end of it. So if you guys want something fun to watch, don't expect some blockbuster amazing movie. But if you just want something mindless and entertaining with a bit of a holiday spirit to it, I enjoyed it anyways. Okay, so let me pull some cards for you. So we need some questions from you guys. What do you guys want to ask? Let's see. What am I going to pull? I got a bunch over here. I'm not going off camera. I'm just grabbing them. Hang on. Grab a few. I don't need cards to read, by the way. I just use them because it's kind of, when we're doing one question readings, it's kind of a quick way for you guys to see whatever I pick up. And sometimes I always say the more specific you can be, the more specific spirit can be. But we get, like when I go live with Dave, usually on TikTok, you get a lot of people just asking, what does spirit have for me? And sometimes tuning into just something written there. Lots of times you can get stuff, but sometimes you can't. So I'll pull a card and it helps me tap in. So let's see, where are we? Michelle Plummer. Every pot has its lid. Krampus has a distinctive look. Oh, you're so sweet, Michelle. What a nice way to say that. And Kevin says, I watched original Gremlins for that Christmassy vibe. LOL. Well, I do too. Okay, so I want to know, what's everybody's favorite, we'll say Christmas movie. I have two, but one of them is my all-time favorite movie. So I'd love to hear what yours are. Do you want me to start first? How about I start first? Julie says, I like mindless entertainment. So do I, because you know what? You don't have to sit there and concentrate. I don't have to worry about jump scares and suspense. And it's just to sit back and just be entertained. That's what it is. And it's kind of Christmassy. So it was a lot better than I thought it would be. And Santa isn't overweight in this one either. He explains why he gets kidnapped. It's quite interesting. So I just asked you guys something. I'm thinking 10 minutes ahead here. Oh, that's what it was, your favorite movies. Okay, so they're pretty close tie, but my favorite Christmas movies, and I would never watch it when I was little because I always had this thing in my head that I hate old music and I hate old movies. And not when I'm this age, like I was young. Never wanted to watch it. And my mother talked me into watching it, and believe it or not, it's been my favorite movie. It's a Wonderful Life. Because I don't even think it's just a Christmas movie. It has such an incredible message for people to realize, right? And especially at this time of year, it's a very difficult time for a lot of people. But, what a gift he was given, right? George Bailey, to realize what life would have been like if he had never been born. And we never consider how each and every one of us really does touch so many people's lives without even realizing it. But my all-time favorite movie is Love Actually. I love that movie. I've always loved that movie from the first time it came out, and I think it's incredible. So Julie says, if drawn, I would love to know if I should look for another Muggle job before the end of the year and or start in the new year. You love White Christmas and It's a Wonderful Life. Yes, I don't mind White Christmas. I'm not really big on musical stuff, so I everybody I know loves classic music and old music. Even when I was a little kid in the 70s, I never liked the music, or the 60s. 80s is okay. I actually like new music, and it's not because I think I'm so cool or anything. If I like it, I like it. Okay, so I think I asked you guys this before. Kathy says the bishop, because I remember this, the bishop's wife with Loretta Young, David Niven, and Gary, is it Cary Grant or Gary Grant? Contessa, she loves You Love Actually too. I seen somewhere last year they were going to make a second one, and I thought, no, don't. You just ruin it. Like, don't. It would be nice to be updated with what happened to people, but I think it was just fine on its own. Oh, Julia says, I like musicals, some anyways. Okay, so Julia Evans, so it is Cary Grant. Okay. I've never seen that one, The Bishop's Wife. I remember talking about this last year at Christmas with you, Kathy, and I said I was going to watch it, and I didn't get a chance to. So Connie says, it's Wonderful Life we watch on Christmas Day in the evening, and The Bishop's Wife. Well, now I have to watch this. I got to leave myself a note. I'm going to write this down. I know I have paper here because it's kind of hard to see, but this was apparently an early Christmas present. You can't see the lights very well, but it's a little short for the background, but it's got a Christmassy fireplace, so I put it up. Okay, I'm writing this down, The Bishop's Wife. I'm going to have to check this out. Okay, I do watch Gremlins. I watch Home Alone. I don't really, even though I'm kind of on a Grinch kick this year, usually it's gnomes. Me and Dave love gnomes. On Thursdays, like especially as it gets closer to Christmas, we start talking about gnomes nonstop. But I've kind of been on a Grinch kick. I don't know why. I don't like the one with Jim Carrey. Don't mean to offend anybody, but I guess I'm a real stickler for, you know what? People are creative. Why do something that's been done already? You know what? Write a different story. You still want to use the Grinch or whatever you want to do or something similar. I just don't get it. Because it just seems to keep, have you guys not noticed this in the entertainment industry? They just seem to keep recycling classics. Like I will be horrified if they redo something like E.T. or Gremlins. Like it was perfect the way it was. Okay, well, it doesn't matter if it's a black movie, if that's what you enjoy. Connie says, I know it's a dark movie, but we watched Black Christmas from the 1970s. I don't think I've ever seen it. Sounds like it might not be a movie I would watch. Like, I don't have a problem with people watching horror. If you like it and it does it for you and you think it's great, awesome. I'm just too much of a chicken. And the reason why, and if you guys have probably heard this from many people in the paranormal world, it's not the spirit world that scares most people. It's people. And I, unfortunately, have worked, or maybe fortunately, with the type of people that you see, such as in psychological thrillers or taking other people's lives or things like that. And I know these people exist. So that's the creepy, scary part to me. So that's why. And I hate jump scares. Like I could watch a movie 100 times and I know that if it's suspenseful, I literally can't sit still while it's on. I got to be moving around. I just don't like it, or suspense. Mind you, know what I started watching? And I've actually gotten into it, is Die Hard. And I've heard the big controversy about how Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. I've watched all of them. Love them. They were awesome. And you said it's during Christmas, so we really enjoy it. Yeah. Whatever, you know what? Whatever brings you happiness, whatever you enjoy. You enjoy a spooky, scary movie, and there's lots of them around Christmas too. Go for it. Have fun. Okay, so Julie, you asked me, you want to know about, I'm going to pull a card for you. I'm going to say the new year. And the reason why is I am feeling and hearing from Spirit that you're going to be putting a lot of extra energy into something during the holidays that may not be as appreciated as it would be in the new year. If you decide to look for a muggle job. I know you're asking about it, but that's my thoughts. But let's see. I pulled from my Angels of Abundance. I haven't done live readings on this show. God, I can't remember. And I used to actually do it every now and then on Facebook. I would do it. I'd go and do one question free readings. Oh, exactly, Contessa. But you enjoy Supernatural. Yes, I do. I don't know what it is about that show. And I never even watched it till I started going out with Dell. And we were just friends at the time. And we actually got talking. Our families have known each other our whole lives. But we started talking because I was talking about a movie I'd seen at home that was already at the theater. And he wanted to know how I did it. So I showed him. And then we got talking about good series and stuff. And we started watching Supernatural from the beginning. And I've been addicted ever since. Yes, that is my one guilty pleasure. I do like The Boys. What We Do in the Shadows has a new series. Actually, I forgot to check. They probably got a new episode up. That I am addicted to. I'm in season 6. So there's a few things I will watch. So I just can't stop peeing myself laughing over What We Do in the Shadows. If you guys haven't seen that, oh my God. There was one character on there by the name of Laszlo. Oh my God, he has me laughing in stitches. Yes, the Polar Express. I've already watched that too, and I do watch it every year. The orchestra and score to the movie makes you cry. I know, it's beautiful music. I see your question, Kevin. Julie says, I like the Die Hard movies too. Do I have an option? Yes, I feel that you do. I'm hearing around beginning of February. But what I'm going to say with nothing but love, and this is coming from the other side too, but putting yourself out there too. Putting yourself out there and from a platform that is more public. A closed group is great, but a closed group is only where you get seen. So depending on how comfortable you are, place like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook is even great if you've got the people to follow you, but something that's more open, that more people can be drawn in. Because for Julie, she got mid-March as a turning point, Kevin says, and I appreciate your I appreciate anybody's feedback, but I do feel this. And I am telling you, Julie, once you get your name out there, I am telling you, you are going to, who's sending me a message now? My goodness, get 20 million messages here. You're going to be busy. You're going to be very, very busy. And Michelle says, I love What We Do in the Shadows. Isn't it funny? It's so funny. And I appreciate your feedback for that, Kevin. Okay, let's see what we pull for Julie. I shuffled it. I just cut it in half. Going to wear glasses for this. Exercise to increase your energy and manifestation abilities. The key to manifesting quickly is, I guess I must have pulled my manifestation deck. No, it is Angel. Oh, actually, it is Angels of Abundance. I was going to pull Life Purpose. So I guess you were meant to get this deck, Julie. The key to manifesting quickly is to have very high energy levels, and the easiest way to increase them is through physical exercise. Choose a fun and meaningful activity so that you'll look forward to exercising and it becomes its own reward. I'm almost feeling from this card, though, that we're not even really talking about physical. We're talking about moving energy, and we're talking about moving energy that's stuck. Still some old beliefs, things to shake it up. Literally just heard that if you're thinking of talking yourself out of something, like, well, nobody will show up or nobody will listen or nobody whatever, if it feels uncomfortable, not dangerous, that came from spirit. If it feels uncomfortable, push yourself to give it a try and see what you think. Oh, Michelle says, I was just asking in my head about manifesting. This is the year of possibility. This year ahead is a year of possibilities. Yes, I know I need to go more public. Been trying to broaden my horizons. It doesn't have to be mid-March, though, Julie. You know that, right? That's just the timeline that's it. I don't usually, and I forgot to say this, I don't usually tell the future. But if something does come through for the future, and I forgot to add this, in this space and time at this moment. So it doesn't have to be beginning of February. It doesn't have to be mid-March. You get to decide when you make that happen. Yes, because that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like you're holding back, like I'm feeling back, like energetically. So I really believe that that's what this is about, this exercise card. Shake things up, get things moving, right? And that's exactly what this card said. So, of course, exercise can always help people. I mean, just get outside and move a little bit for 5 minutes. Sometimes that's not always possible with the weather. But I'm really feeling to move things ahead. It's to step forward and put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. And again, I believe this, and I'm guilty of this myself, and I should be doing this more often. If you build it, they will come. I know that's cheesy, but it's true. Most people who have become successful on social media or their business or getting their name out there show up with regularity, even if it's for 30 minutes every day, same time if you can, around the same time, people will start to show up. People are always looking for an incredible animal communicator. A lot of people don't know what a shamanic practitioner is, and you are incredible at what you do. And you know I'm one of your biggest cheerleaders. I would love to see you be able to do this full time, because I know there's so many people you could help. So you say, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you to me. Thank you. And Julia Evans just said, you must, Julie. She said, you are good too. And Julie added, yes, I know I need to go more public. Been trying to broaden my horizons. Yeah. And Kevin just said, yep, it depends on events. So if that, you know, I mean that. I really do, about you, Julie. And you've got other people verifying it. It's just a matter of people finding out who you are and what you do. Because I know there are a lot of people out there looking for incredible animal communicators in particular. And I think that feeling into this, and I'm going to get to your question, Kevin, feeling into this, that once people are going to discover you because of your abilities to work with animals. But then once you build that audience, people are then going to discover how much you can help them as well with your shamanic practitioner abilities as well. And again, you don't have to do anything that I say, but that's what I'm picking up. So Kevin, you asked me, are we going to move into a house or stay in the apartment that we are accustomed to? I'm feeling into that, Kevin. I'm really feeling 50-50, but there's two reasons why I'm feeling 50-50. Sorry, I'm staring at this, but I'm trying to feel into it. When you say we, I kind of get the feeling that the we, and not in a bad way, but the we of it, meaning you don't have to tell me who it is, whoever the we is in this situation, meaning you and whomever, you're not both on the same page about so much of maybe one wants to move to the house more than the other, yet the other feels more strongly about staying in the apartment. But like, it's not a bone of contention. It's just a matter of, could we? Yeah. Should we? Yeah. But then you find reasons to stay put. So let me see what you've added here as well. And Julie says, thanks to everyone's input. Hi, Mish. Welcome. I've got to tease Michelle. Or Mish, I always do. I say she's in the future because she's in Australia. It's Tuesday morning already there. Julie Evans is still saying, you must take it on board, Julie. Well, she's got to feel comfortable with it too. That's all. Because that's all the problem is. I know it is with Julie, is people finding her and finding out who she is and what she does. Oh, Kevin says that makes sense. You are right. Lots to consider. Well, it is. And it's not in a bad way, Kevin. I want to dig a little bit deeper into this. Because normally, because I kept asking Spirit, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. That's why I was kind of staring at your name there, trying to feel into it. And it's not a matter of the we. So say there's two people. It's not like you're fighting about it or anything, and might not even have really said who feels more strongly about one or the other. But that's kind of why you are where you are. The other thing I'm feeling too, you just haven't found the right house yet. When you do, you're both going to be on the same page. Oh, Julie said the same thing. I'm sensing that too, Kevin. Yeah, you know it's not in a bad way. Yeah, like it's not like you're fighting or arguing. I didn't pick that up either. So will your finances improve? Well, let's use our abundance deck for you tonight. we do have a lot of intuitive people here. And if it doesn't, like I say, I always tell people I'm not 100% correct. I'm a human being. So I just pick up what I pick up or how I interpret it and see where it goes with that. I forgot to check TikTok and Instagram. Let's check here. We're good. I don't even know if it's going live on Instagram. We haven't seen anybody pop in on there. So that's okay. And sometimes I find TikTok or Instagram too gets really behind. Mind you, it might have cut off on me. Sometimes it only goes for an hour. Sorry, Instagram, but you're a pain in the butt sometimes. Julie says, I think one of you is a bit overwhelmed by the thought of the long-term commitment. Yeah, like I didn't get into the details of it, but that's what I feel like. It's a long-term commitment. And that was, if I was doing a private reading, would have given you a lot more information because there's a lot more that came through in the way, and it's mainly about the financial commitment with it as well. And responsibility and so much and so forth. But since we're supposed to be doing quick readings, so you guys, if you're just popping in, everybody's consensus or everybody thought let's do a few questions from spirit here. So if you guys want to do some, I haven't done it in a long time. Oh, we got Kathy, we got these 2 cards that jumped out for you from the abundance deck. So in answer, will your finances improve? The first one is bountiful nature. Spending time in nature helps shift you to a higher vibration and remind you of God's infinite abundance. Go outside and enjoy a walk or hike with your pet. Meditate beneath a tree, garden, sit under the stars, or do some other activity to connect with the limitless vastness. And I'm going to add also, well, they said limitless. Hopefully I didn't say limits. Limitless vastness. There is a plethora of things that can help with your abundance. Part of it is, though, thinking about the way we choose to look at this. And I need to hear this as well, okay? And I know there's others in the chat that will too. So sometimes when it's hard to believe that our abundance can improve or our finances or whatever that is, because that's a scary place, especially if we don't have somebody else to rely on. And all we have is to rely on ourselves, right? And then we start to get into that fear mode and worry about, oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? And how am I going to pay for this? And what am I going to do next month? And so on and so forth. No, years ago, before I was even doing this work, I was going for different healing modalities. And I went to see somebody for a modality called Body Talk. This is when my children were very little. I'd hurt my back. My husband at the time, didn't matter what he did. He had these 3 professional designations, never seemed to be able to get, he'd always make the top 1 or 2 of the list for a job. And he never seemed to just be able to crack it and get that job. And I'm off permanently. Like, it was a really scary spot. And I asked her about this during this session, and she gave me some food for thought. And she said, okay, just stop for a second. She said, take a breath and think. Do you have everything you need today? I said, what do you mean, do I have everything I need today? She said, do you have everything you need today in the way of, do you have a roof over your head? Yes. Do you have a bed to sleep in? Yes. Do you feel loved and cared for? Even if that comes from self, right? Do you have food to eat? Yes. And she went through this list. And then at the end of it, I said, so what is the point of this? And she said, basically, it's that lesson about living in the now, right? And we have to live in the now because that's all we have. That word now is already in the past, for one thing. Second of all, right? When we get into that headspace about worrying and worrying and worrying and worrying about the future, and I do not feel in any way that you are irresponsible, Kathy, or anybody else listening. We have to live in the fact that that's what we have right now. We have everything we need right now. Plus, it's very helpful to look back at times in our lives when we've had issues with finances. And every single time, have we been looked after in one way or another? I know I can answer yes. And I've lost my home. Not because of irresponsibility or anything like that I've talked about on this show. I have been there and I understand it. And I understand how scary it can be. But getting out in nature helps us to get grounded. It also helps us sometimes to take a look at things from a different perspective, including looking back in the past and starting to really trust and believe, right, that when you jump, the net will appear, and it does appear. Something always will come up. You will always be looked after, and we need to really, and it's a hard thing to do. Believe me, I know it. But the other reason why I think it's important too, I also feel like there may be something that may be helping you to achieve a little bit more abundance in the way of finances that maybe you haven't thought of yet. So getting out in nature, maybe it's a talent you've got. I almost feel like it may have some things in your possession that you no longer need and don't really have a sentimental attachment to, that you may be able to sell. You might have thought just giving them away, thinking, well, nobody will want this, but you might be pleasantly surprised that someone does. So that's one thing for you. The other one, block out distractions. Your life purpose and other priorities need your undivided attention. So it's time for you to take charge of your schedule, working environment by turning off electronics and avoiding anyone or anything that distracts you from what's important. You already know what these distractions are, and you have the power to responsibly block them out. So I don't know if that'll help you or not, Kathy, but I am really speaking to you from the heart, because believe me, I would not tell you this stuff if I didn't believe it, and I live it too. There's days where I get into a space of fear and worry, and then I realize, I go back to that conversation I had years ago. And sometimes it's really helpful to go back and look at, yeah, actually, when things did seem really difficult, something always happened at the last minute. And it still does. Sometimes it's a tough month, sometimes it's not. So I hope that helps you, honey. And Julie says, yes, love this for Kathy and me too. And like I said, I need to hear it myself, and anybody else who might. Kevin said, thank you. Mish said, that's exciting. Hang on, I got to go a little higher here. Sorry, I missed something. Play nice, computer. And Julie says, I think one of you is a bit overwhelmed by the thought. That was about the house, sorry. But the long-term commitment. And then Julie added, and a more involved financial commitment. So she was talking to Kevin. Sorry about that. And Kevin says, thank you, Lorilei and Julie. And Julie is getting a definite yes for you, Kathy, about your finances. And I believe that too. And she says, get rid of any lack mindset. And just so you know, when I was giving you those answers, I was not reading Julie's answers. So two of us are getting the same thing for you. But I want to acknowledge it's very difficult to get out of that mindset, especially if it's just you that you got to rely on, okay? But you got this. We all do. And like I say, it helps to look back in the future when we've all been in these situations before and realize the net always does appear. And Mish said tomorrow is never guaranteed. That is for sure. So Michelle says, will the relationships I have with the two adults in my household improve? Or is it time to move past? Hang on, I'm just going to make sure. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get back to that, Mish. Just give me a sec. Mish says, say to the universe, how does it get any better than this? Or sometimes I like to say, when I ask for something or want to manifest it, this or more or better. So that's true, Mish. Kathy Having Little says, yes, Lorilei, you just woke me up to things I already know in my heart. Well, that wasn't me, that was spirit, but I'm glad if it could help. And Mish just said, oh, that's beautiful, Kathy. And gratitude works wonders for the lack of mindset. Yes, it does. It certainly does. Now, Michelle, will the relationships I have with the two adults in my household improve, or is it time to move past? Okay, this is what I'm going to say, is that there's two adults in your, obviously, but one of them in particular, well, it goes for both. You can only do what you can do to make the best of the relationship. And then you have to ask yourself, how much time in my day do I spend with either one of these two people that it brings me nothing, that it brings me joy, I'll say. And if it's very little, and you know these people to the fact that they're not going to change. And I think that's a hard realization for a lot of us to come to. We keep hoping because we love them. And if we love them enough, or we change enough, or we do enough, that they're going to see it, and they're going to evolve, and they're going to come around. But in the meantime, you end up sacrificing you and who you are, and the joy and the happiness that you deserve to have part of your life. So I will never tell you to cut people out of your life. But what I will tell you is that if you answer when you ask, how much joy do these people bring to my life? And it's very little. Spirit is literally showing me it's like having this massive anchor around your neck, and you're in the ocean, and you're trying to swim, and you're trying to survive, and all it does is drag you down and down and down and down. You have to ask yourself, how hard am I going to keep fighting when I've done everything I can? I've tried to do the work, because what I'm really hearing from Spirit is you're losing yourself in who you are, and part of your purpose of why one of the many reasons why you've chosen to come to this planet. So it's some tough decisions to make, but I find that that's usually a good meter. And for anybody else that's listening to this, I'm never going to tell you to leave somebody, but you have to make sure also that you're safe physically, emotionally, psychosocially, right? And then, if there's children involved, sometimes people have to stay in situations because it's what's best maybe for children or for yourself. But if you have the means to do so, and it's been nothing but misery for you, and there's no way they're going to have any impetus to change or want to try to work on something, sometimes you need to make those difficult decisions. I know when I went through my divorce, and my ex-husband is not a bad man. I'm still very good friends with him. But I know I would not be doing what I'm doing today. I know I would not be where I am today. And I made the decisions. And I had somebody tell me, when you look back a year from now, you're going to say, why didn't I do this sooner? And I thought they were crazy. And they were right. So that would be, I don't know if that's maybe what you wanted to hear, but that's what I'm getting from Spirit. And you guys know I'm always going to be honest with you, and that comes from nothing but a place of love. So I hope that helps. I'm just going to go through here. Kathy says, Julie, I thank God every night for all that I have. I also have a gratitude book. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It's always a good reminder. Everybody needs to hear that, right? I can't say it enough. I really know what it's like to get to that place where you're like, oh my God, how am I gonna do all this? How am I gonna pay for all this? And I have people that rely on me too, right? And then I remind myself to take a breath in the now, go get grounded, usually go outside. And then sometimes when you have a conversation with Spirit, and I'm telling you, every time you're looked after. So I trust that. So the things I tell you and I share with you, and I try to be as honest as I can. I believe I'm always honest, but I really do try to be honest and walk the walk of the talk that I give. So I hope that helps. And Mish says, Source seems to remove people from my life. I don't know if that's a good thing or a not so good thing, Mish, but you'd have to maybe elaborate if you wanted to. Julia Evans, you say, I lost a lot being with a narcissistic man. I'm free now. So that's everything. Mm-hmm. Like I say, sometimes it's even like when Kevin asked about moving, right? Do you stay in a place you're comfortable, or do you move forward? And if there's a we involved, and I don't ask how many we's there are, y'all got to be on the same page, right? But life is too short to not live happily. And I'm not all about the woo-woo, rainbows and butterflies and unicorn poop. What I'm saying is if the bulk of your day is not spent where you're happy, you gotta stop and take a look and think, why is my life not happy? What's going on? And again, if Miss, you said source seems to remove people from your life. Well, the sad part is that source doesn't remove the people from your life. It may feel that way, but we're all here for a different reason, for a different amount of time and a different purpose. And it doesn't matter how much we love them or how much we want it. And the same thing will happen with us. I'm not trying to be depressing or anything. I think it's just reality. But when it's our time to go back home, it's our time to go back home. And Mish said, "What? Oh, Mish, may I ask for some direction?" Absolutely. And then she says, "Wow, Julia, I'm happy you're now free." And Kevin says, "Set boundaries." At least that, Michelle. If you show that you're setting boundaries, they may be surprised, but I feel they would have to respect that. What I'm going to add to that, I told you guys I am working on this course in the New Year's. It may not be till the end of February or March, the way things are looking. But part of that course, and it's not just going to be one day course, it's going to be once a week for probably a couple months. I'm going to talk about a lot of these different things, but one of them is, especially when you start following a different path, and whether you want to call it spiritual or changing the way you're thinking or manifesting, whatever you want to call it, right? When you start navigating in a different direction, and I just had this conversation with a client recently, and people that have been around them their whole lives, now that they are working on themselves and changing and really looking at things from a different perspective, they don't have much in common with these people anymore. And you know what? Like, that's what happens. And the way I explained it to her, and the way Spirit showed it to me, is we are all like a, if you will, a transistor radio, and we're all broadcasting at a certain frequency. But other people are also like this, and the kind of people that we are going to attract to us, depending on what frequency we are transmitting at, we're going to pull those same people into us, right? So if we're not, and then when we start raising our vibration or frequency, people that we vibe with before, we really don't vibe that much with. So sometimes you got to look at the relationships around you. And then that's when you ask, why am I still doing this? Sometimes you can't. I mean, if it's family and you choose to keep family in your life, and most people do. But I always, and I do try to do this too, how much joy does this person I spend time with bring to my life? And if they don't, remember, you have free will too. So boundaries are super important. I'm still working on that one myself too. So thank you for that reminder, Kevin. Julie says, awesome, Kathy. And Julia said, thank you, Mish. Michelle, she says, thank you. Your words mean so much. The anchor, the joy, all of it. Spirit, thank you. Well, thank you for the feedback, and I hope that helps. I send you all much love for the questions you've asked, and I hope that the information is helping you guys too. And Mish sent hearts and rainbows. And then Julie says, awesome at Julia. I've dealt with a narcissist ex too. So happy I'm free from him. Kevin says, that's awesome, Kathy. And what we go through is for us to learn. That is absolutely right. Absolutely right. Nobody's, you know what? And I have a theory, and I'm not always right on things, but I always find that most people that are working on this path or following this path, I almost hesitate to say spirituality, because I've seen many a person, and I'm trying not to judge, but it's difficult when people say, I'm not religious, I'm following a spiritual path. Yet being an objective observer, we've literally taken the word religion and just painted over it with spirituality. So I don't like to label it. Basically, you're trying to have a better life and change the way you think in a more positive way. How about that? Right? So that's what happens. Hang on, I had a comment here I was addressing. And what we go through is for us to learn. Yes. But we also find, and you'll find too, when you're following this path and making an improvement and change in your life, you'll find people around you will say, you changed. Like you're no fun anymore. You used to be fun, or you used to be this, or you used to be that. It happened to me when I followed this path. Most people I know, it's happened to, where sometimes you got to do a relationship evaluation. You really, really do. And then Julia says, sorry to hear that, Julie, but it's helped us learn and made us stronger. It absolutely, that's where I was going with this. Keep losing my train of thought tonight. People that are following this path, most people I have met have not had this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful life full of nothing but joy and happiness and love and very easy life. And there are some, but the majority of people I have met that are in this type of work have usually had a lot on their plate, without getting into trauma dumping or misery piling. But none of us have had a really easy life. We seem to have a lot more than a lot of other people. So I always choose to believe it's because, I don't know, I believe I've had many lives before. And my higher self, I guess, in its infinite wisdom, I always say, I wish I would have read this at the fine print, knew that I'd be able to handle this coming here. So I don't know if that might make that easier for somebody hearing that out there. But that's how I like to look at it. And Julia says, I have the most gentle partner now. I'm so happy for you, Julia. That's awesome. Michelle Plummer says my ears are ringing like crazy. Mine have the right one. Oh my gosh, I've even been asking Spirit to turn it down lately. It's been loud. So Mish says, sorry, does this person bring me joy? No, get rid of it. Sorry, that was being that lady who declutters. Isn't it, does this spark joy? I forget what her name is. I forget. I know who you're talking about. So I've never tried it. I should try it and see, because I definitely need to declutter. But I know what you're talking about. That was funny. Julie's laughing too. It's okay. We got what you meant, Mish. We got what you meant. Yeah. Like, don't you wish sometimes it would be that easy, right? Does this person spark joy? I think that's how she, oh God, it's going to drive me crazy now what her name was. But I know who you're talking about. And it was a big thing, like about 5 years ago in particular. People were all on it. It was a huge thing. So you guys, how much time do we got left? We got about 10 minutes or so. So I don't know. Does anybody else want some more questions? Ask Spirit, you guys want to talk about spooky stuff, happy stuff, Christmas stuff, whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about tonight. Like I said, I had a bunch of stuff lined up, and if we talked about it, we talked about it. If we didn't, we didn't. But yes, does this spark joy? I have to look it up now. Where's one of my other devices I have here? I have 20 million devices here, just in case I'm prepared. Okay, I got to ask about and I know what that, as soon as I see it, I'm going to know what it is. Okay, declutter. I'll put spark joy. We'll see if that shows up. Let's see. The Kondo method, Marie Kondo. Yeah, that's what it's called. And she's even explaining, apparently on YouTube, in a 1 minute and 44-second video, Marie Kondo explains spark joy. Yeah, you're right, Mish. It was Marie. You said Maria or Mary. And then Julie says Marie Kondo. Dana White. Does this spark joy? Oh my God. So what do you guys think about that? Like, I will ask you that. What do you guys think about that? And why didn't we hear about it? Mind you, I guess I can't really ask in Canada because most of our news is blocked that comes in and goes out. But I didn't hear anything about this UFO crashing in Sweden. And apparently there was more than 2 occupants. So 2 of the off-worlders, unfortunately, did not live. So they were buried somewhere under a tree, is what I heard in the Sean Atwood podcast. And the others were working on repairing the ship, either repairing it, or I believe they were trying to repair it or waiting to basically get picked up, if you will. And then I don't know about you, but I kind of would have. Oh, Mish, you missed all this at the beginning of the show. Okay, so as a quick recap, we were watching this podcast, a bit of it that I watched with this. I think she's fascinating. I would love to have her on my show, and I'm really going to try and do this, you guys. Is this Beverly Rhodes from the UK? And she now has a regular show on the Sean Atwood channel on YouTube with Ron Woods, who's one of Sean's co-hosts he's had for quite a few years. And she was on there today, and they were talking about there was a UFO crash, but also Manchester, England, the airport. And Kathy Annie Little said she saw this a couple of days ago on TikTok, because I knew it was a couple of days ago. The airport got shut down, and there was a video I showed at the beginning of this. It's like this blue, it almost looks like what a globe would look like of the Earth. It came down from the sky and almost completely landed on the runway. And people were they were talking about what Beverly, because she's one of the world's best remote viewers and very, very psychic, about what she had picked up, why it was there, and what was involved. But then she mentioned about this crash, and I wrote it down. I could have grabbed my other phone. It was in Sweden, the one I was just talking about. Give me my notes here for a sec. I got to go out of podcast things here. Notes. Did I put it on my other phone? Maybe I did. I think she said Ängelholm, Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Ängelholm, Sweden is where this happened. I think it was this weekend. Yeah, so, yeah, Julie, you said you didn't hear about it. I never heard about it. This happened a couple hours ago. What time was it? Was it 2 or 3 Eastern? When I watched it, it was almost a 2-hour podcast. And it was fascinating. And I thought, like, could you? And she said that's not the only place that this basic, I don't know if you want to call it probe or alien drone, that it was experienced in other places around the world. And they were basically picking up information about what's going on with our state of the world, what we've been hearing with the powers that be that are playing basically war games, if you will. So, but the fact that somebody caught this on video, my mind was blown. And then I didn't hear anything, because usually somebody in the UFO world will put out a video or something about a crash. So I thought that was quite fascinating. My mind was blown. You guys, this was so much fun tonight. It went by so quick. Like I said, I haven't done free readings in a lot. Well, I do them with David on TikTok. But TikTok, it's different. And TikTok, I'm glad you're over there. I don't get to keep seeing the chat, but I keep popping back and forth. But the problem is on TikTok, and Dave and I work really well together. Like we just sort of pick what lights up, and we give a really quick answer, like literally 30, if we're lucky, to 60 seconds. And that's it. So it was nice to be able to spend a little bit more time and really, really be able to really tune in and share. So Mish says, I wonder, or Michelle, sorry, Mish is above you. Michelle Plummer says, I wonder if there would be a vote for the ideal correspondent for disclosure. Who would people believe? Hands down, if they reported these incidents for fun, I wonder who I would pick. I don't know, because you know what I wanted to ask? I never got a chance to tell you guys, but I sort of did. I asked Beverly what had happened to me when I blinked and lost all that time and ended up miles away. And she was super excited. She said, oh my God, you had a time, what'd she say, a time blip or a time jump. I'd never heard that before. And then I asked her, because she got into a little bit about people with Rh negative blood, red hair, and green eyes. But she was talking about these are the original colonizers of the earth for human beings, including with some angelic DNA. So that was interesting. So she gave quite a fascinating answer in that podcast, I thought, because I was typing going, tell me more, time jump. I wanted to know more about it. So that was a good question you asked, Michelle. I'll have to hang on to that, because we'll get a chance again, maybe even Thursday night, to ask more about that, because I think that's a really good question you asked. Kevin says, I'm getting that they are watching you with your loved ones and compare your memories with them through your current family. Interesting. You guys, we are out of time. This went by way too quick. You know how much I love you all. And I'm so excited that you guys were all here tonight. So thank you for being here. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please stay tuned because the Light Gate's coming up next with Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron. And I love both of them. They're awesome. So stay tuned for them. And, Kevin's going, ooh, Julie says, cool, a time jump. And Kevin says, interesting, time jumps. Yes. So I'm going to have to do some more research. I have an idea. She was super excited about it. And then Sean's partner, I'll say, Dr. Jen, that was on that panel when you watched it, she goes, well, wouldn't that mean like, because actually Beverly picked up that I was driving, and I was. And so Sean's partner, Dr. Jen, says, well, wouldn't that just be more or less that you're, what did she say? You're basically in a meditative state. And Beverly goes, oh, no. And I'm typing, no, I wasn't. I literally blinked. I wasn't meditating. Everybody's saying great show. Thank you. Connie says, have a good night. Julie says, thank you. Lovely group. Much love, Lorilei. Thank you for the show. Thank you. I feel exactly the same way about all of you. Michelle says, Lorilei, you are so generous tonight. Thank you. Oh no, you guys made my night. I've been looking forward to this. I always look forward to my shows, but when I can hang out with all of you, I just love it because we can talk about whatever. Anyways, if you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/AngelRock right now. Like I've been saying, working on teaching my first course in the new year, and hopefully to have that under a domain name and get my darn resin out of there. It's piling up in my house. I need to start selling it. Otherwise, you can also get a hold of me on all social media platforms, either under the Angel Rock 1508 or Lorilei Potvin. I'm on every platform. And I forgot to mention, we have a group on Facebook for Thursday night shows. We put the videos up there. You guys can post questions, show ideas, funny things, whatever you like. It's the thing at the foot of the bed with Lorilei Potvin and David Hansel. My cat just said hello. And we are getting closer to 200. I think probably in the new year, we're going to start going live in there, Dave and I, every now and then, whether it's readings or whatever it is. So please check that out. We'd love to have you join us. And I always post the video clips that we show in that group. I also have two groups in my own, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, and the Angel Rocker Tribe for more things spiritual. And I forgot to check and see. I got a minute yet to tell you who's coming on next week. I should have checked. I had that on my to-do list today, and I forgot to check. Okay, phone, start uploading here. This is a new guest, and she sounds very interesting. Ellen S. Cohn. So Kohn. I believe she's from the UK. I don't know. She came from my buddy Gavin over in Wales that has a publishing company over there. So I don't know if it was paranormal or something, but he has some really awesome authors we have coming up with super interesting topics. So you guys are going to love her. Anyways, tune in on Thursday, 7 p.m. Dave and I will be back Eastern Standard Time with the thing at the foot of the bed. Love you guys all so much. Much love and light. Big hugs to y'all, and stay spooky. Okay, always ask questions. Anyways, we'll talk to you later. Love you.